Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another WEMBO interview. I'm privileged and very fortunate to have Chelsey Magness. She is the current WEMBO 24-hour elite women's champion. Successful campaign in Finale Ligure. And here she is. She's joined us to take us through how that was for her. Chelsey, thanks so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you back.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Yay. Now, just quickly, you're the champ. You are the WEMBO Elite Solo 24-hour champion. How do you feel? Do you have a little bit of extra swagger? Have you had time to let that sort of sink in for you?
I had time 24 hours after the race, maybe more like 36 hours of the race, and really felt some swagger there. Got to soak up some Italian beaches and drink that wine, that awesome sparkling wine that they gave us, and go out for an amazing meal with our friends who watched our two boys while I raced, and Jason supported me. So that was really great. And then ever since then, it's kind of just been on to the next, go mode. So, I'm hoping to have July to really soak it in more, because honestly, 30 hours just wasn't enough quite yet.
Right, I can imagine. Now, you're pretty well traveled. You've traveled all over the world in terms of adventure racing. Did the experience you have from all that travel translate into a relatively seamless experience? Or, I mean, the whole family went to Italy this time. How was that in terms of travel to and from the States? And how was it having, the whole family, the kids included, in Italy to watch Mum race?
Yeah, it was pretty intense, honestly. Mostly because before we traveled, we just had put on a 7-day expedition race. It's called America's Toughest Race that my husband and I put on. And it was really intense this year. We had a lot of snow and the logistics were just insane for us. And then traveling, honestly, once I got on the plane, it was fine. And only packing 2 bikes and not much else gear was fine. I'm used to adventure racing where you have to pack so much more stuff. So that wasn't too bad, honestly. But so once I got on the plane, it was fine. It was just like, once we landed in Italy, in Genoa, and got our friend's van, we immediately had to get in the van with 2 kids that were overtired, us included, with our 2 bikes, and drive in Italy and find our place. That was pretty intense for us. So yeah, logistically, it was pretty insane, but we're also kind of used to insane at this point. We're a family that is very well traveled, and we're used to a lot of gear. So yeah, it was crazy, but it wasn't like super undoable for us.
Right. And just quickly, in terms of like the van and driving on Italian roads, like there's a difference in between driving on Italian roads and driving on Swiss roads and driving on American roads and Australian roads. The Italians, have an expression, a different kind of driving expression. And moreover, Finale's narrow. It's like cut into the side of these limestone cliffs. Yeah. Did that add a little extra stress? Did you, add some patina to the van?
Oh yeah. And it's a big van. Like, it's bigger than our cars here in America. Wow. And we're driving on tinier streets there with more aggressive drivers. And so, yeah, it was pretty intense. I didn't have to drive. I was just the navigator, but still I was navigating, and I was just like, and Jason was like, oh my God, is this the way? I'm like, yeah. And then when we finally found the spot, to find parking with this big van was another fiasco. It took us an hour to find parking in this tiny town. Because we weren't in Finale, we were the town just south of there. And then our friends who rented us their place, they forgot to tell us that they were on the 4th floor. So after 24 hours of traveling and not sleeping, with 2 kids, we had to get both of my bikes up the 4 flights of stairs, and both boys, who were just like completely done. They were just way done, and then we get to the place, and we just all we just all collapsed. So that was the good thing. We just all were able to just pass out.
That's
So,
cool. And so you got back, obviously, right? You're in the States now. And I'm interested to get the way that your body reacted to 24 hours of bike racing at full noise. And the comparison between that and spending, say, 5 to 10 days on an adventure race. Has your body bounced back relatively quickly after the 24, or has there been some challenges for that? And how different is it from your recovery from a big, long adventure excursion?
yeah. Okay. So for this race, because it was only my third 24-hour race, immediately when I was done, I felt so good, and I think probably that was something that I won. So I had a lot of awesome adrenaline going with me. I was helping Jason move stuff, and I was feeling with it. But then after a sleep, I woke up and I couldn't crack my own eggs. And I couldn't bend over. I was like doing this weird bending over. So that was a first for me, of like not being able to function in my hands that much, or in my back. The last couple laps, I couldn't shift with my thumb. There was something going on with my shifting in my bike a lot of the race, where I had to like push really hard. And so my thumb, it took a while for my thumb to recover. Honestly, it's not all the way fully recovered. So that was a first for me. But I always go into endurance racing kind of knowing that there's going to be something that I'm going to have to take a little bit longer to recover from. In adventure racing, we always say for every 24 hours that you race, it's a week of recovery. And so that's kind of how I took this race. And I knew that I had a 5-day expedition race 5 days later, which is happening on Monday. I immediately started eating a ton and drinking. And, I have this device called the Mark Pro. I got on that the whole plane ride. So I fast forwarded my recovery a little bit. Usually I'm more relaxed about it, but I was like, okay, get on the recovery protein shakes, a ton of them, eat and sleep and drink. And so I think that really helped me recover, is knowing that I had another big race. And it's honestly, I felt my body, like I was saying, my back felt really bad, and my hands. I hadn't really felt that in adventure racing. I think because the pace is different. You're more in zone 2 for much of a expedition race. Where in the 24-hour race, like a half of it, you're going pretty hard, and it's a rough trail. In adventure racing, there's a lot of road, or not road, but like gravel road. Of course, there's a lot more hike-a-biking. Sometimes you're like hiking up and over a mountain, and there's no trails in adventure racing. Sometimes you're hiking through thigh-deep mud in adventure racing. So it wasn't like, and you have a pack on. So your body goes through much harder things in adventure racing, but the pace is not as intense. I think that's the difference. And so, for a 5-day after this expedition race, it'll take me, I'm guessing, 4 weeks to fully recover, and I'm okay with that. Where this 24-hour race, it took me a week to recover. So that's kind of the difference, is if that makes sense.
It certainly does. And particularly in terms of like the acute injuries that you were talking about, like the lower back, the hands, particularly in somewhere like Finale. And it's ironic you talk about your thumbs, because the thumb is the shifter that puts it onto the big ring. And the amount of times you would have had to have done that, because the Finale course is really short and intense, and those really sudden, get it into an easier gear so I can get it up and over that, would have been really interesting.
I never experienced that before.
Yeah, right. And that's a reasonable segue onto the like how you found the course. Like we discussed the course a little bit in offline emails and those sort of things about some of the things that we'd expected. I know that when I wrote it for the first time on my return coming back just recently, I went, this is way harder. This is harder than I remember it. And it was hard when I remembered it the first time. Did that sort of like surprise you? You got there and went, wow, we're racing this for 24 hours? Or was that within your wheelhouse? You thought that that was okay, it was within acceptable norms?
Honestly, yeah. The first time I wrote it, I was like, okay, I've got this. I was with Kate Boyle. We hooked up and I was really, really grateful to be on her wheel and watch her line because she had done it a couple times before. And so that really helped me out because honestly, I was coming from being on a trainer a lot. I knew I had the power and the endurance, but my mountain bike skills were kind of rusty. So I was both like nervous, but I was also excited to have 24 hours to really like geek out on the moves, you know? And but I knew that I had it and I broke up the course in a couple different sections just so it would be easier for me mentally. To know like, okay, this is a harder section, you got to be on it or pay attention or be ready to get off your bike. And that's okay. Don't stress. It's okay. Just keep moving. So I broke it up into different sections and that really helped me. And I knew that, 10 to 15 laps in that technical steep section that you told me about. And then I wrote it and I was like, oh, this is that part. This is going to get rough, at some point for me. And I think it was the 15th lap, it started getting to me like, okay. And that's when I took the mantra of don't stress. Just if you get off your bike, just keep moving. Just walk the bike and get back on as soon as you can. And because I really didn't want my heart rate to go up and for me to feel that pressure. I just wanted to keep that steady heart rate going for me. And mentally, I just wanted to not stress out about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we wouldn't be alone in recalling that that was a particularly painful part of the course for everyone, I would imagine. Now, in terms of the good parts of the course, like there was some, I recall, amazing views and some other things that made that course really special. Was there any certain parts of it or certain elements of the course that made you go, wow, I'm really glad I'm here. This is something I don't get anywhere else?
Yeah. It's funny because for the first 12 hours, the first section of the course, I loved the twisty turny. I just thought it was so fun. And then by the end of the next 12 hours, I was like, oh my God, just get through this section, honestly, and get to the flowy part, which honestly, from where I'm in Bend, it wasn't that flowy, but it was like you could kind of let loose on your brakes and go downhill for a bit. But it was still like chunky on my arms, but I still called that the flow section. And that's the section for the next 12 hours I really looked forward to, because you're coming down and then you turn this corner and then boom, you see the ocean and the cliffs. And that was a very special part for me because the day before the race I was able to take Jason and my two boys on a little hike there, and we climbed up on what's called the Witch's Tower. So you see this little tower too, crumbling tower, and we climbed in that and had an adventure through that. And I remember, walking behind my youngest, he's 2, and he hiked the whole way there on this little trail. And whenever I got low, I was like, just get to that point and visualize Revel's little feet in front of you, just like pattering away, and so every time I went into that section, I thought of Revel and Max, and I spread a little bit of my son who passed away, some of his ashes right there, because I knew that would be a point of like, just like to get my joy back and
Yeah.
that always helps me. So I spread a little bit of him there. So that was a really special part of the course for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And for those who have missed the backstory on that one, search for Chelsey Magness and Spirit B, because it's an incredible and inspiring story. And for those of us who are easily choked up, such as I am, make sure you have some tissues handy. Incredible.
Yeah.
Now, it was hot too. So it was hotter than last time. It was steeper and more rugged than last time. And I don't think anyone got away from the heat. How did you guys handle it? And did you find that it worked to your advantage, or was it something that you just wished it was cooler?
I did not wish it was cooler, honestly. I think that's one of my strengths that comes from racing all over the world for multi-days, is you get hit with so many things, so much weather, and you can never really predict it. You just have to be ready for it. So when it was that hot, I was like, okay, I know how to do hot. This is how we do it. And I knew that I couldn't go out too hard. And because at first I was like, okay, maybe I can go out hard and stay with, because I heard that Gaia goes out hard. And so I was kind of curious about how hard, and I was like, okay, maybe I can be with her. But immediately when I started, even on the run, the 500-meter run, I knew that I just couldn't, if I wanted to keep my pace in my race at the way that I wanted it to unfold. I knew that I couldn't go that pace. And so that's kind of how we scale back, is you know the first lap through, I was like, this is really hot, and Jason could see it in my eyes how hot it was. It's like already starting to get bloodshot, and so he started me on the salt pretty early, and started pouring water on me really early, and then I just opened up my jersey, and those are kind of the ways that we dealt with it. And 3 months before that, I was in Panama in the same type of weather. Right. And so I knew how my body would react, and as long as I didn't blow up or push that line, then I knew I would be okay.
Right. So not necessarily acclimation per se, but it's just heat experience and just knowing what works, what doesn't, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really interesting. And you spoke about the way that Jason sort of previously Jason was going to guide your race. He had, you trust in him to have a pretty clear strategy. It was obviously a successful campaign. Was there any deviations from what Jace had planned from the way that was actually executed?
Honestly, I don't fully, we didn't have a concrete plan going in. I shared a tent with Will, who got third, right? And he had it all written down for his support team, lap by lap, what he wanted to eat and everything. And we didn't have that at all. I think because Jason knows me so well and racing so well, that I was like, look, you know me, you can look at me and know what I need, and I trust you, so let's just be adaptable. And that's how we rolled. Is I got the food ready that I knew that I would like. I got a small selection, and I just would roll through, and he would just give me something, and sometimes I would be like, nope, not that, next round, give me something else, so that I could look forward to that. But he really adapted it on his own by looking at me and listening to me. So yeah, we didn't have I hope that makes sense. We didn't have a complete plan, just fly by the seat of our pants, but have everything on the on the table. We probably didn't look really professional because we just had crap all over the table, and he would just get it off. Yeah, we weren't who's the champion, the male champion? Tori, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard his team was just well-oiled machine too. And Gaia had, 5 people. And so we probably looked like the Crazy American show. So yeah.
It did from external viewers, it did look pretty jazz improv.
Yeah.
There was, hey, let's just play this in 5/7 time in C major, and away you went. It was, in a way, it was a beautiful thing to see. Now, you took the lead, if I recall a whole bunch of memories, but if I recall this one correctly, at around about 10 or 11 p.m., at around about the 12-hour mark, I think you broke
Yeah.
away from Kate at a certain point when she had to stay in the pits for a while, and then you were on your own. Now, being out in the front of a race of that magnitude for that long by yourself can make crazy things happen. Did crazy things happen, or did you just have a quiet confidence that as long as you kept the pedals turning, that everything would be okay, and that, soon enough you'd be world champion?
Yeah. Once I passed Kate, honestly, I was sad because I really enjoyed. We had 2 laps together, and we were talking about staying together through the night and riding together because she was faster than me on the downs, but I really liked watching her line, and then I was I don't know, faster or within her pace on the climbs, and so I felt like we were kind of boosting each other's morale and talking because it was pretty quiet out there, and I didn't know who spoke English, or so I was by myself a lot, and so yeah, that first 2 laps after Kate left, or was in the pit, and I didn't quite know what was going on, that was a little sad, but then I just kept up that pace, and I was like, well, you know what, if I'm out front now, and this is it, if I just like what you said, I just like, if I just keep this pace and keep my mental game in it, then I can win this thing. And so that's what I did. I just didn't want to blow up, and I just wanted to be steady, and I just hoped that the rubber would stay down, and I would be safe.
Right. Did you, as the laps, count down, how as a racer you'd be going, I've got this much time, I need to do this many laps, etc. As that lap count came down, or as Jason was telling you, okay, I need 2 more laps from you, or I need 1 more lap, or whatever else, did you feel the excitement start to build? Did you
Yes,
allow
I did.
yourself that? Yeah.
I did allow myself some excitement, but I didn't want to get too excited because I don't know, I still didn't know. In adventure racing, a lot can happen. We always say that it's not your race until you cross the finish line. And so I just kind of had that always, because I've just had that for, over 13 years now, 14 years of just like that mentality of like, you don't have it until you cross the finish line, like anything can happen. And so that I kept it back a tiny bit because I think I'm just used to that mentality of that. And even when I finished, I remember them coming up to Jason and being like, well, Gaia still could do something, or and Jason was like, kept on doing the math, and I was like, do I have to go back out there? And he was like, well, don't take a shower yet, just like, let's just hang out here for a little bit. And then when he told me you can go take a shower now, I knew that's when I got excited. I was like, okay, I'm the world champion. And then when they had me come through the chute and everything, I was like, okay, I can let myself be excited now. So yeah, it took me a little while.
Right. Fantastic. Now, one of the interesting things about Finale, which I don't think is replicated anywhere in the world, is the toboggan berms and the party that they throw on there.
Yeah.
Did that give you a boost? Was it a detractor? Did you get any mad little, Italian hard house earworms that stuck with you as you went out on for another lap?
Yeah. Oh, that was my favorite part, honestly, other than, seeing the ocean. Yeah, I loved that part. Like just hamming it up, going through there, getting the banks on every turn, and just like hearing them just cheer your name was really cool. So yeah, that only amped me up. Like every time I went through there, I was like, just get back to here as fast as you can.
Yeah.
So I was quite sad when I don't know what time in the morning, maybe like 3 in the morning. That was a pretty lonely time, like 3 to 7 a.m. I was like, oh my God.
It's
Where'd
kind of
they
like,
go?
it's like when all your friends go home, you know, because
Yeah.
I experienced the same sort of thing. It was really, you'd be waiting to hear the sound at the top of that climb,
Yeah.
and you'd hear
Yeah.
the sound. And then as you came through the burns, it would get louder and louder, and the lights would start flicking through the trees. And then you're in the middle of it, and then it's all gone again. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
incredible.
So great.
Now you're off racing this weekend. Is that right? Did I hear that right? You're off racing this weekend?
I'm racing. Yeah. Well, I fly tomorrow. And then we race on Monday. So
Right.
I'm racing for all next week, Monday to Friday.
And is that a long trip? You know, you fly out tomorrow, you start on Monday. Is it within continental US, this one, or is it?
Oh yeah, it's within the US, but since we have kids and we're trying to make it the shortest amount possible time away, possible. We don't fly out till midnight tomorrow night, so it's horrible. It's a horrible flight. So.
Now you're the champion. It'll be really interesting to see. Well, I'm interested to know, with your adventure racing calendar, and you're a pro racer, there's a lot of there's commitments you need to make to adventure racing. There's other commitments around the place. Do you envisage putting more mountain biking, more endurance mountain biking into your calendar? And will we see you in Australia in 2023? Do you think?
You will definitely see me in Australia. I mean, again, anything can happen, but it's on my schedule. I'm actually not going to do Adventure Race World Championships. I'm going to send my husband Jason, and then I'll go to Australia. Jason will still come with me, but he will be recovering. And I can't do both. That's just not possible. So I chose to instead do World Championship mountain biking because I really enjoyed it. And I love the community, and it was just so much fun. And Jason's excited for it too. So if your support person's excited, that's really cool. And I am going to do the 100-mile race in a month here in Bend. I was going to do the 24-hour race again here, but it just doesn't line up for me with adventure racing. Adventure racing is still my like my first love, and I'm still very passionate about it. But I'm definitely, if a 24-hour race falls into place in my schedule, then I will do it. But I'm not always going to pick it over adventure racing races unless it's world championships. Then that was just such a cool experience that if I keep doing well, I want to keep it on my calendar
and keep coming back to WEMBO World Championship level races.
Yeah. And if nationals happens again here in the States, I'll definitely try to make that a thing. But I don't see myself as only doing 24-hour races. Like people have asked me that, and I'm like, I can't do that. Yeah, the Band-Aids in the bathroom. Go ask Daddy. Oh, ask Auntie Jean can help. Okay. Sorry.
Totally cool. All right. Now, a quick throw out to your sponsors. Everyone's really interested to know, what bike you were riding, because ultimately it turned out to be a pretty good equation. Nutrition, bike, clothing, etc. You want to throw out to your sponsors, because I think, we need to buy these products.
Yeah. Well, my main one is Ellsworth bikes. I was on a Ellsworth Truth that is not out yet. It's coming out in the end of this year, so November of 2022.
I did hear that was a prototype, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah.
It's call it my unicorn bike. There's only 3 of them out right now, and only my team has them.
Right.
We're the only ones that have them. And we've just been testing them I've been testing mine for the last year, and it's just amazing. Can't say enough about that bike. And Shimano, I was on all Shimano components. I was on a Corvus swept back Sweet 16 bar with ergon grips and an ergon saddle, which I love. Exposure lights, I also can't say enough about them. They are my go-to number one in 24-hour mountain biking and in adventure racing. And laser helmets, I really like them for just super light and comfortable helmets, which I think is key. 4-Hour Fuel, which I'm sponsored by them because also I am an owner. My husband, Jason, is actually in the garage right now making a ton of it because a lot of orders came in. And I was, about 80% of my calories was 4-Hour Fuel. And then the other part was Spring Energy, which is another sponsor. It's super good, all real food gel. And I've tried a lot of gels, and I just always swore that I'd never eat another one. And Spring got to me, and I've done so many races on them, and I'm still not sick of them, which is amazing to me. But they're so good. And Visit Bend, of course. Visit Bend was huge in getting me to Finale and support my adventure race team. And I have excellent PTs here in Bend, Rebound Physical Therapy, and Aquaterra Health, my acupuncturist, is just always helping me and my biggest fan. So I might be forgetting some, but those are the ones that stood out in this race and that I'm just so thankful for. Oh, and I had a I don't know what it's called, but maybe a GoFundMe. It's on a different website, but I had it's called like Send Tinkerbell, which is one of my nicknames to World Championships. And so I had a lot of sponsors and friends and family and other people that I don't even know support me in going and donated money for me and my whole family to go, which is just, it couldn't have happened without them. And so I'm really, 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 really thankful for that.
Yeah, I'll actually throw out a thanks to the patrons too that donated in that regard, because you helped get Chelsea to the Worlds, and she gave us something that we all really enjoyed. It was a great race.
Yeah. Thank you. I really enjoyed racing, and it was such a fun race. And the race directors, I think, did a phenomenal job. I'm a race director myself, and they really just, as soon as I got there, they just made me feel really welcome. And it was a great finish. And I felt like all the riders, no matter where they placed, felt really special and cared for. Having the pasta there, the focaccia in the middle of the night, it was really nice to have that, especially traveling all that way from a foreign country, is really just amazing.
Yeah, it is fair to say that the Italian experience, particularly the finale experience, is, a lot of good things really well saturated, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's something I really enjoyed. All right, I'll let you go. I'm conscious that you're incredibly busy. I've been speaking with Chelsey Magness. It's been a true pleasure. Congratulations. It was amazing watching you race. It was amazing watching the women's field across all the categories race so hard and so spiritedly. And it was, thanks so much for bringing that to us. Thanks so much for talking with me. And we'll look forward to seeing you at the next WEMBO race, wherever that manifests in due course.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I get to come to you.
Yay. Come to Australia, avoiding all the insects. It's going to be great.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk.